Okay, so if you're an Israeli living in the UK and you've got a pension back in Israel, you know you're stuck in a pretty complex tax maze. In this explainer, we're going to give you the map. We'll help you understand the rules, especially with the huge changes that have just come into play.
You're definitely not alone if you've been asking yourself, who do I pay tax to? Israel? The UK? Both? The rules have always been a bit murky, but they've just gone through this massive, game-changing reform, and you need to know about it.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll get right to the core of the problem. Then, we'll unpack the tax treaty that governs all of this. After that, we'll break down how a major UK tax reform has literally created 3 different time periods with 3 different answers. And of course, we'll wrap up with a clear action plan for you.
Right, let's dive in. The fundamental question is simple. If you're an Israeli tax resident in the UK and you're getting a government pension from Israel, who gets to tax that money? Is it Israel, because that's where the money comes from, or is it the UK, because that's where you now live?
Well, the answer is found in one key document, the Double Taxation Treaty. This is a powerful legal agreement between the two countries, and it's designed to do one crucial thing. Make sure people like you don't get taxed twice on the very same income.
To figure out the right answer, the treaty actually gives us a really clear 4-step process. Think of them as 4 legal stations you have to pass through, and believe me, you have to go through them in the right order to get the right answer. Okay, so Station 1 is the tiebreaker test to figure out where you're officially resident. Station 2 is Article 10, a special rule for government pensions that has a huge catch. If that doesn't settle it, we go to Station 3, the powerful general rule in Article 11. And finally, Station 4, Article 21A2. This is a critical Israeli rule that acts like a gatekeeper and can completely flip the final outcome.
And this is where it gets really fascinating. A massive UK tax reform has completely changed the result of this 4-station journey. The answer to "who taxes me" is actually different depending on when you ask the question. So let's break this down into a timeline.
We have to look at this story in 3 distinct chapters. First, there's the past, which is everything up until April 2025. Then there's this very strange, unique transitional year from 2025 to 2026. And finally, we have the new reality, the new normal, from April 2026 onwards. So, let's rewind and start with the past. For years and years, the UK had a special tax status for new residents called the remittance basis. Understanding this one concept is the key to, well, everything that follows.
Under the old remittance basis, it was simple. Your Israeli pension was only taxed by the UK if you actually brought the money into the country. If you left it in an Israeli bank account, the UK taxman couldn't touch it. This is totally different from the new arising basis, where the UK taxes all your worldwide income, no matter where it is. And that difference is exactly what switched on Israel's gatekeeper rule in the treaty.
So here's what that meant for your wallet. For any pension money you kept in Israel, the gatekeeper rule meant Israel could tax it, and that was totally correct. But, and this is the big one, for any money you transferred to the UK, that money became taxable in the UK. That means the treaty's protection should have kicked in, and Israel should not have taxed those funds. You might have overpaid, and you could actually be owed a refund.
Then we get to the big moment of change. On April 6, 2025, the UK gets rid of the remittance basis system completely. It's gone. And this single change in British law sets off a massive chain reaction, like a domino effect, within the tax treaty.
Remember that Israeli gatekeeper rule we talked about? Well, its entire reason for existing was because the UK used the remittance system. The second the UK moves to taxing all worldwide income, the legal justification for the gatekeeper rule just vanishes. It's a dead letter. And with the gatekeeper gone, the treaty's very powerful general rule, Article 11, takes over, giving the UK the exclusive right to tax your pension. So, starting in April 2025, Israel legally can't tax your pension anymore. The right now belongs solely to the UK. But here's the twist, here's the surprise. What does the UK actually do with this new power? The answer, amazingly, is nothing. For 1 year, the UK taxes it at 0%. You see, as part of this new tax system, the UK is giving new residents a 100% tax exemption on foreign income for their first 4 years. And for someone who moved, say, in 2022, the 2025-2026 tax year just happens to be their 4th and final year of that exemption. It's a quirk of timing.
So you end up with this incredible situation. The treaty now says Israel can't tax the pension, and the UK's own domestic law says it won't tax the pension for this specific year.
It creates a completely legitimate, legally sound double non-taxation window for one full tax year. But, and this is a big but, don't get too comfortable. That one-year window slams shut on April 6, 2026. That's when the UK's temporary exemption for new residents ends, and we all enter the new, permanent reality.
From this date on, the situation is crystal clear. Israel is still forbidden by the treaty to tax your pension. But now, the UK not only has the exclusive right to tax it, it also has no more exemptions to apply. The UK will tax the full amount of your Israeli pension, whether you bring the money over or not. You get a complete flipping of pockets. The right to tax your pension moves permanently and exclusively to the UK.
Okay, that was a lot of theory. So what does all this mean for you, right now? Let's get to the most important part, your 3-step action plan.
Okay, 3 things. Step 1. You need to get official proof that you're a UK tax resident. That's a certificate of residence from HMRC. Step 2. You have to send that certificate to the Israeli Tax Authority and formally tell them to stop withholding tax from your pension, starting from April 2025. And Step 3, and this one's huge. Look backwards. Go through your records, find all the pension money you transferred to the UK before April 2025, and figure out how much Israeli tax you paid on it. You may be owed a pretty significant refund.
And you know, there's a beautiful irony here. What might have felt like a mistake or a tax headache at the time, transferring money and making it taxable in the UK, is now the very proof you need. That act of transferring funds is literally the key that unlocks your right to claim back taxes that were incorrectly taken in Israel. The bottom line is this: the entire tax landscape for your Israeli pension has been completely redrawn. Understanding these seismic shifts is absolutely the first and most critical step you can take to make sure your financial future is secure, compliant, and most importantly, working for you, not against you.